Okay, so tonight we are going to go over photosynthesis to make sure that we have the basic concepts down. Today we did an activity and looked at photosynthesis in action through a model. So tonight we want to take some notes on it to make sure we understand everything that we did. So today you're going to take Cornell notes on page 34 in your journal. So make sure you set it up Cornell's style. And then once you've got that set up, go ahead and press play. And remember to take notes on every slide. You do not have to write word for word, but you do need to make sure that you are getting the information down that is on each slide. Okay, so photosynthesis, it is a process, okay? And it is a chemical reaction, okay? It is a chemical reaction that plants go through where they convert, and all convert means is to change. Okay, so they convert radiant energy from the sun into chemical energy. Okay, remember we talked about how photosynthesis is an energy transformation. Okay, and the two forms of energy involved are radiant energy and chemical energy. Okay, we start with that radiant energy from the sun through photosynthesis. It is then going to be converted into sugar, which is going to be stored chemical energy. Okay, so photosynthesis, it's a chemical reaction in which plants convert radiant energy from the sun into chemical energy. Okay, we need to make sure we know what radiant energy is, and all radiant energy is energy from the sun, and that can either be as light or heat. Now, the really important thing to remember is that during photosynthesis, plants need the sun's light. Okay, we're not worried about the heat. Remember, photo in the word photosynthesis means light. Okay, so radiant energy is energy that comes from the sun, and during photosynthesis, it is the light that is needed for that process to happen. So radiant energy is going to cause photosynthesis to begin, and then ultimately in the end, that radiant energy is going to be transformed into chemical energy. All chemical energy is stored energy. Okay, kind of like a battery. Okay, if you just have a battery in the battery pack, okay, it has stored chemical energy. Is any of that energy being released or produced sitting in that battery package? No. But if you put that battery into a remote or into a flashlight, and then you turn the remote, you use the remote or you click the button on the flashlight, then that chemical energy is going to be converted into electrical energy or light energy. Okay, so all chemical energy is stored up energy. It's not being used, okay, but it will eventually be used. Okay, so in plants, the important thing to remember is that chemical energy is stored in glucose. Okay, so remember that radiant energy from the sun is going to cause photosynthesis to happen, and then in the end, your product is going to be sugar or glucose, and that's going to be stored inside the plant to be used as food for the plant. Or if animals or humans eat the plant, then we would then use that chemical energy in the form of glucose. Okay? Okay, so we need to also know where photosynthesis takes place. Okay, it takes place inside of the plant cell. More specifically, it takes place in a structure called the chloroplast. Okay, so here you can see a magnified chloroplast, and inside this little structure is where the whole process is going to happen, where that sunlight is going to be absorbed. It's going to start working and causing that carbon dioxide and water to combine and then produce the sugar and the oxygen. Okay, so all of that takes place inside the plant cell, inside that tiny structure called the chloroplast. And so what exactly happens during this process? Okay, the first things that happens is the light energy or radiant energy is absorbed from the sun. This energy helps carbon dioxide and water to combine. Okay, when that carbon dioxide and that water combine through that light energy, then glucose is going to be formed in the form of stored chemical energy. And through that process, you're going to have some extra oxygen left over. So that extra oxygen doesn't need to stay in that plant, so it's going to be released into the atmosphere, which then, of course, could be used by humans or animals. Okay, so the process of photosynthesis. Okay, now remember it's time to summarize your thoughts. This should just take you 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, you can write, you can draw, you can use a graphic organizer, include some key vocabulary, and then make sure in the margins you also list any questions you might have. Okay, and if you understood everything, then ask a question about something you're still wondering about photosynthesis. Okay, here's just a little photosynthesis humor, a little science meme. So I hope you have a wonderful night. Be prepared to come to class tomorrow, ready to discuss photosynthesis and do some more activities about it. Have a great night. I will see you tomorrow.